Everyone, Zeddy here again to do the brand new video, and I'm losing my mind. I'm terrified. I feel like there's so many broken cards here. I think Wild is legitimately going to probably have to ban a card. There's just broken legendaries for Demon Hunter, possibly neutral. They have a new Kael'thas. What's going on? Anyways, we'll get into it. I got a giveaway going on, by the way. I'm sure you haven't heard. 3 mega bundles, 2 regular pre-orders, like the 80 pack one, 3 of them, 2 regular ones. All you have to do is like and comment on the video in the description below. Subscribe to the channel. For every 1,000 subs, we add another mega bundle. We're already up to 3. There's no limit, so hit that sub button. Make me go broke. Let's just start off with a card that I think is going to break Wild. Tome Tampering. Tome Tampering is a 3-mana epic spell. Shuffle 1-cost copies of cards in your hand into your deck. So whatever's in your hand will turn to 1 mana and it'll go into your deck. Then you discard your hand. It will disappear. You'll have no cards. In Standard, it's not amazing because you'll have an empty hand and then you got to rely on top decking a good card. But you do have life tap, right? Unlike Astral Communion in Wild, which would set your mana to 10 and then you would have discard your hand. This one, you can actually life tap reliably and probably hit some broken stuff. And it might be okay. For that reason, I think for the scam factor in Standard, it could work. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 there. But again, you really have to hit like your hero card or some draw card really quickly outside of life tap, or you're just going to get blown out because your hand is, well, empty and you can't really defend yourself. However, in Wild, I think it's broken. I think this will lead to a nerf because you couple it with this card, Malchezaar's Imp. You discard your hand, you redraw every card discarded, right? You discard 7 cards, you will draw 7 cards. You're probably going to hit some of them that are 1 mana, and you're going to play this in like a Giant's Warlock. That is notoriously what you do, and the Giants will be 1 mana minus whatever, so they'll be 0. They'll be 0, and you slam Giants, you have 1 mana Loathebs, you have whatever. It's going to break the format, I think. Like, it's a reliably cheap combo. It's 4 mana, and you're Warlock. You have life tap, Solarium, Backfire, Hand of a Doll, all these ways to draw cards. I just think this is a very, very likely candidate to get banned because it leads to those early blowout turns you won't be able to recover from Giants and Loathebs and all of that. So I'm giving it a 5 in Standard. I'm giving Tome a 5 in Wild. I'm giving it a 5 in Wild because of that implication. I think it's another one of the Stealer of Souls, Darkest Hour, whatever you want to call it, type of things. I think it could possibly break the format yet again, and we've seen that happen with Warlock more than any class in the game. Next, we have a card that hasn't been officially translated yet. Fluffy Kael'thas. 6 mana, 4/7. Every 3rd minion you play each turn costs 0. We're going through this again. This card, there was a spell version that your 3rd spell each turn costs 0. It got nerfed to 7 mana and then 1 mana for the spell. And then it got reverted, then re-nerfed again. It's like just a card that's always been a problem. So let's remake it, but for minions. So minions historically are not as good to abuse that way. You need to run things like Deskint, Murloc Tiny Thin, just like really crappy 0 drops. And then the cards that you play, like minions, typically don't have as big an impact as big spells, like an Ultimate Infestation or an Overflow, things like that. Typically not as impactful. However, Kael'thas will be is a minion, so every 3rd minion you play him, that's your first one right away. You play another minion, that next one's 3 or 0. So you only need to play it with like a 1-drop and you can cheat out a giant minion. So for that reason, I'm giving it a 4 to 5 in Standard Wild. I think this card's a mistake again. I don't know why we keep having cost 0 because it always leads to problems, and I imagine that this card will lead to problems even if I don't think it's as good as the old Kael'thas, which is one of the most broken cards of all time. I still think it has the problem to enable really broken stuff, and I just wish they would stop with the just costing 0. Always leads to issues, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's a Scabs Cutter Butter moment here, that it's not busted, but it's really scary. And then lastly, we have 3 cards revealed. We have the Demon Hunter legendary here, 4 mana, 7/7. What? Battle Cry, discard your hand, Death Rattle, draw 3 cards. So you're playing like a Vomit aggro deck, you don't care because your hand's empty. You're playing anything else, you kind of care about losing the cards that sucks because you have to replenish it somehow, but there is another card that will replenish it. However, it's got a Death Rattle on it, and we've got that Quillbore for 3 mana, 3/3. You can just cheat this out, cheat it out. You get a 7/7 that has Death Rattle, draw 3 cards, and you don't have to worry about the Battle Cry. You have your legendary, the 7 mana legendary that can cheat out other Death Rattles. That's really good, and the card just seems insane in Death Rattle Demon Hunter, like just disgustingly good. And at the very worst, you're playing it and then you'll draw 3 cards unless it gets silenced, transformed, and they still have to deal with a 7/7. I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 5 in standard, 3 out of 5 in wild. I think this card is genuinely terrifying because you can basically make this downside rarely activate in a Death Rattle build, or again, even at the very worst, you'll just replenish cards anyways. Although if your hand's really full, you're kind of sad on that. But it's not gonna fit into like a Fel DH, a really efficient Demon Hunter deck. It's just going to slot into either a pure aggressive deck or a Death Rattle deck that cheats this out reliably, which again isn't that hard to do. There's a lot of ways to cheat it out if you want. So yeah, really strong legendary in my opinion. I kind of wrote it off at first when I saw it. Then we have 2 more cards here that go with it. Well, first we'll go with the Demon Hunter weapon, Magnifying Glaive. We'll zoom in a little bit here. Sorry, I'm doing it on the run here. 3 mana 2/2. So bad attack. You don't care though, because after your hero attacks, draw until you have 3 cards. It's like a Jeeves. It's like the 2 mana card. I can't even remember its name anymore. They got nerfed to 3 that came from Skullomance that would just refill your hand. It's Divine Favor on a weapon. So you're playing it with this aggro vomit deck. You can just equip the weapon on 3, play Kripp, I guess it's called, and then just swing, draw 3 cards, and draw 3 more cards. You have a full hand. So that's just super strong. Any card that draws a lot of cards typically sees play. Aggro DH will like it. The attack on it's not spectacular. The durability's low. It's only got 2. But again, I can't imagine a world where a deck won't utilize this at some point. It's too insane. My God, Demon Hunter is just always gross, is it not? I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5 in standard. And in wild, where you have Odd DH, which is still a deck and runs out of cards a lot, they will like this card too. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 in wild. It might elevate Odd DH just a little bit because now you have a really good draw engine there. So yeah, look out for that. And then we have this warrior card that just seems bad. 4 mana epic, summon 3/1/3 jailers with taunt. If you have 20 or less health, give them +1/+1. So they're 2/4s. You have to be 20 health or less, so you don't really want to be playing a 40 card deck. You need to get damaged at least 10 at the beginning of the game. It's a lot of stats. It's a lot of stats. If upgraded, you're looking at like 6/12 in stats. That's pretty good. But overall, you got to get that activation off pretty reliably. You have armor gain with all the stuff going on in warrior. I just don't know what this fits into. Maybe there'll be more support for this. I'll make this make more sense, but I just don't see it. I don't see it at the moment. It just seems underwhelming compared to these cards. Like, what are we doing? We're getting some taunt minions here, right, guys? You're playing warrior. You get some taunts, or you can cheat infinite mana, or play giant overstated things and draw cards, or you can play warrior and get some taunts that might have a little upside. So, little disappointed as someone who likes playing warrior. So, I'm gonna give it a 2. I want to give it a 1, but maybe it sees play. I'll give it a 2 out of 5 in standard, a 1 out of 5 in wild, but man, this other stuff's so much cooler. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comments below. This stuff gonna break wild, it's gonna break the game. 0 mana, I'm losing my mind. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day. Stay salty, my friends.